Day 2 on the kitchen refurbishment. It's been a really full-on busy day with loads of different contractors coming in today to get the property ready for plastering tomorrow. So the first thing I did, I had an extra builder brought in today to finish scraping off the 3 layers of very old floor tiles. And that took them all morning. At the same time, the electrician turned up to do his first fit. He's been really great at taking time with me to chalk up where we wanted extra sockets, chalk up the measurements of what the kitchen's going to look like. So he took a good half an hour to walk round and talk about all the different problems that we needed to solve. So we've taken 1 extra socket away and we've put in a new socket behind a cupboard ready for the washing machine, and all the other sockets and an extractor fan he's put in, so all the hard wiring's ready. He took all day. He was a full day for his first fit, getting things in a position so that when the plasterer comes, he can come and do his plastering up to the existing electrical sockets. Then the plasterer did turn up, and I'm really glad he did. He's not due to start till tomorrow, but because he's friends with the fitter, they each got in touch with each other, and he brought the plasterer here to measure up. So the plasterer's come in and talked about what he's going to do. So he's boarding 3 walls now. All 3 are going to be done, boarded and then skimmed. And we were going to add a product called OCR, which would have been a type of glue and damp-proof sealant as well. But because I'd had a damp-proof course put in today, as you can see along the bottom, it's gone all the way around, drilled through, shoved all the foamy stuff inside, there was no need then to have the OCR in addition. So I've saved a little bit of money on the material. That was the good news. Then I had the rubbish clearance man come because I decided to pay somebody in person rather than a company for a skip. And that's the first thing I've learned. Only ever use a skip, because he came and collected another 30 rubbish bags today, and already tonight I've got another 4 that we're going to have to do in the car tomorrow. So I would definitely be using a skip and not trying to cut corners, because I ended up spending about £30 just on rubble sacks, whereas if I had a skip it would have all just gone straight in there rather than bags. So I've saved absolutely no money doing that. Then my fitters come along, and once the tiles were up he could see that there was quite a bit of a lump and a rise in the floor. Unfortunately, when the plasterer came along and they talked about the type of laminate flooring we're having, we couldn't lay laminate flooring with this lump in the middle of the floor. It would have just cracked and bowed over time, and within 6 months we would have had to have it ripped up. So instead of that, I've had to have a lovely hole dug and then refilled with cement, a bit of PVA glue, to bring it up to a level that the self-levelling compound can then just be laid on top. I was really pushing my builder to lay the self-levelling compound tonight. It would mean that my tenants had 1 night of a wet floor that they couldn't walk on. Unfortunately, we've kind of run out of a bit of steam, run out of a little bit of time, so the self-levelling and the flooring compound hasn't gone down. It's going to have to go down Sunday in prep for laying the laminate flooring on Monday. The other expense I've incurred is that I bought underlay for the laminate flooring, and it turns out that because there is a bit of damp on the concrete floor, I need to buy a special type of underlay that's got a foil back, which would mean that the damp doesn't rise and cause the laminate flooring just to rot. So that's increased, and at this point in the build, this is why there's a contingency. There are unforeseen things that happen that I just hadn't planned for. So I've gone into that contingency already. And the other thing is that the fitter that we're using is being paid on a day rate, not by the job rate. So his time, extra time where he's going to have to come Sunday to lay this, is another cost of labour. He didn't want to quote for the job, he wanted to quote for a day rate. So there is another part of the contingency that I'm having to use up. So a bit of a learning curve. Tips that I'd say: only use a skip to get rid of all your rubbish. Don't use a man with a van. And make sure you've got a contingency and you buffer a couple of extra days for a kitchen fitter, because there are just things that aren't quite finished and we're not really at a point that I wanted to be at. So tomorrow is the plasterer, boarding, plastering, and we'll take it from there. That's today.